morning, everyone. Welcome to the World Monetary Alliance update. I'm your host, Dr. Tim. It is the update for the day of May 15th, 2023. I hope everyone had a good Mother's Day weekend, spending time with your loved ones. A lot of stuff going on, and I'm going to try to unpack all this stuff. Let me see. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Okay. So a couple things. I'm not going to keep this too long. First of all, I want to talk about the World Monetary Alliance training camp we had. We did the first weekend of May, 5, 6, 7, and also celebrated my 58th birthday. That was a great time. I had some concerns going into it. For those who had seen me earlier in the year, I had just after the new year, I got in a car accident, totaled the vehicle, brand new vehicle. Guy drove through a red light, never hit the brakes, hit the door where I was. Fortunately, I saw it and I was able to turn into it, but I've been hobbling around ever since. And then a couple days prior to the training camp, they end up sucking out 100 cc's of fluid in my knee. I do have a ways to go, but it was a significant difference. Listen, my head wasn't on completely right going into camp because of that, worrying about whether I'd be able to perform or not. I and my four-legged children are running around here. A couple weeks prior to that, I was at the Modernity Symposium in New Hampshire, walking around with a walking stick because it was that bad. I still was able to perform, but, I can always teach, but, I still like putting on a certain level of performance. Then Craig Mason helped me out there. We did a really good chair demo and then a standing demo, paid for it. They paid for it a lot. But if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see the demos of Craig and I sitting down and then getting up and moving. But I did my Yoda imitation the whole weekend walking around. I got something on my hat. Okay. With the cane, kicked it in gear, and then needed help to get around some more. But that I was weighing heavy on me, and that week I had just gotten another booster for my COVID shot and didn't have good results from that. I had chills and stuff like that. I'm still feeling it. And there's a reason why I got the COVID booster, which I'll talk to you guys in a minute. But I said this was for the World Monetary Alliance training camp. We had a blast. We had close to 50 people attend, which I was excited about because the previous year was the 65th anniversary. And usually when you have a big event, the following year isn't the same. And I was I'm actually pulling up photos right now. I was very pleased with the participation at the event. Looking forward to next year's. Got some things we're working on with that. We did a bunch of the Dago drills. That was a big portion of Dago drills 1 through 3. Open hand interpretations of those. We did a bunch of disarming, some Sinwali variations. I had Mike and May Williams swing up from Salem, Massachusetts. They did a multiple CLOT classes. I had Master Dominic Violante coming from Avon, Connecticut. He did stuff with the walking cane, which is actually good because I couldn't walk. Well, actually, by then I was walking fairly decent. And let me see here. I'm going to share the screen. As soon as my sharing the screen. And here we go. So this is a picture from the Saturday session. Decent numbers. And we had grading that night. We ended up having 14 people pass the black belt test, all the way from Lacan. Lacan was the lowest black belt, up to Dayang Talo. And for those who don't know, Lacans are the male indication for rank. Dayang is the female. That was established by Professor Prasis. The highest black belt, the third degree, was by a woman this year, which is great. because we're really trying to encourage the women in our organization to do more. We had a bunch of people go for color belt gradings, and a bunch of my juniors who have became junior black belts last year. Here's a bunch of them right here in the picture, and they're working through the adult curriculum. So in this photo, they're wearing a black belt with a blue stripe, which means they've graduated from the kids program, and they're a blue belt in the adult curriculum, but actually they end up getting their purple belts, which is great. So other things we had going on, I had one other special guest, which was amazing. Thank you, Mike. Thanks. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this live, Miss Janet's going to be talking to you about all that stuff that you're asking me, Mike. I leave today, which we'll talk about in the show. Who I also had very special. So for those who don't know, I am a Maya Elite member, Martial Arts Industry Association. It is a business consulting. It's a martial art business consulting company. So it tells you how to be a better school owner. So I'm always talking about the business of what we do. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be about money, but it does. Okay. But not in the way you initially think. So let's say you want a training group, and you don't really, like, I taught out of my church. That's how I started in my backyard and I got in my church. I was in my church for like 1 or 2 years. There was fees for the church. I had to have insurance. I had to all have these things. So there's things I had to make sure how to collect my tuition, how to set my tuition. I said I didn't make beans teaching there, but it wasn't about making money. It was about continuing my training, and getting my team ready for their black belt examinations. If you like PG Ty, he teaches in the park, and he's no overhead. And he doesn't charge because it's not what he likes to do. He wants to vet people by seeing if they're actually serious. And if they show up, then he'll know they're serious. And sometimes it's actually harder to get people training for free than it is to pay things. But Ty also does an event, the spring and fall fling, the two different events. And he has to advertise for this event. There's overhead with the event because he has to get a shelter. He has food there for people. So there's the business aspects of those things. So this is the kind of stuff that you need to be aware of. Well, Maya sent me their COO, Mike Perry. Mike is an amazing person, my personal consultant. I started with Mr. Kurt Klingenmeyer, and then I was shifted over later down to Mike Perry. Each consultant has a different specialty. So when I first worked with Kurt, it was all about tracking my numbers properly, And then as far as Mike knew a little more who I was in the martial art world and was able to help things specifically, because most people don't do seminars first and a school second as far as they back into the school. Usually it's you have a school, and then you work, from the school, then you start doing seminars. I kind of started doing seminars before I had a school, and my knucklehead four-legged son is being a knucklehead. He doesn't know how to open up a door. Go figure. But he opens up the door all the time. So Maya sent Mike Perry to the event. And all I had to do was cover the airfare and the hotel. That was and feed him while he was in town, which was amazing because the information he shared with our members was phenomenal. He did a Thursday morning seminar, very intimate. It was probably about 6 of us there, and then he did a lunchtime event, and then Maya donated 2 other core 4 memberships, which is the core 4 elements of running a school. Scheduling, pricing, mass enrollments, rotating curriculum. These are the 4 cornerstones. And then, it's normally, I think it's 2 payments of $3.99. He gave everyone else the opportunity to buy in for $99. We really do what our best to bring our members up to speed and to give them access to stuff. I was on the Core 4. I was on the Core 4 meeting this week, and I saw several of our members who actually purchased it because I said there was one Canadian, one American uh, won those, and then the rest had to buy in. And I saw a couple people online taking the class, and I talked to one of them afterwards. It was great. So it's not all about punching and kicking. Now, the good thing I like about Maya is that they keep, a lot of times it's just assumed you have to keep your martial arts up to snuff. They're constantly telling you. And the coolest thing, Mike was on the training floor doing the techniques with us. Now, he was away from town. He was out of town, which in Buffalo. So he had a couple things he had to do. So one, he had to still do his job remotely. So he was constantly talking to hotels and stuff of that nature because they've got a whole bunch of events coming up. And then two, keep tabs on the family. And with all that on his shoulders, he was doing consulting the whole weekend long and training on the mats whenever he could. So he was in my Ponantukan class, our Sombrata section, multiple knife drills, and Mike himself is a master martial artist. He's done a whole bunch of different things. And it was great to have him there. And we're looking forward to seeing him again in the future. Don't know when. I mean, I know I'll see him again in the future, but we'd love to have him come back to the camp. Everyone loved him. He was very approachable and very friendly. He's definitely a great goodwill ambassador for Maya. And I can't speak highly enough of this group of people. Now, listen, I'm just going to say this once before I go to the next topic, because I don't want to sound this as an advertisement for them, but it's an advertisement for them. And I've seen this happen in the past. I've seen people from our industry, Filipino martial arts, join martial art organizations, and then a year later they quit. And I go, well, why? Wasn't it? Why did you do it? Well, it didn't bring me any students. I go, well, I mean, were you having a problem implementing the things? No. I mean, I just joined. And they had this mindset, if they joined an organization, that being a member of the organization would bring people through the door. And that's not how it works. Maya, NATMA, GCI, MATA, all these organizations that are out there, they teach you how to do the job, but you still have to do your own work. All right. You cannot just join something and assume people are going to come walking through the door, because they won't. You still have to advertise. You still have to understand how to talk to people. You have to give great customer service. You need to make sure that your product, your martial arts, is top notch, and that it's appropriate for the people that are in front of you. Listen, if you want to have a big club, you need to teach kids. You need to teach stuff that's age appropriate. Doesn't mean you're watering down the system. Some of the material may not be age appropriate because the level of violence. Other things may not be appropriate because their brains haven't developed enough to understand the concepts of what we're saying. So if you're going to have, like, okay, we talked about earlier, the junior black belts. It's two different curriculums. If it was the same curriculum, there's no need to have a junior black belt. If you've got a kid doing the same thing as the adult, just as good, if not better, and if better, then they should be higher ranked than the adult. And if someone will say, well, the adult can kick butt. Well, of course, they're about 100, 200 pounds heavier. So, of course, they're in a different weight class. But at the end of the day, if they're doing the same amount of work, if not more, then they should be the same rank, if not higher. That's why it's important that you have age-appropriate curriculum to put things in context. Like I said, I have 3 tiers of curriculum. Okay, I've got the little Arnis, the little Arnisers, which are my 4 to 6-year-olds. Then I have the junior Arnisadors, which are the 7 to 12-year-olds. And then I have the Arnisadors program, or the main core curriculum, which is for 13 above. And when you look at them, there's core concepts through all of them. But as you jump from one to another, you see a significantly more material. And I remember my favorite line was that resonates with me. We were during class. It says, show me the 4 abanicos. And all the kids, the junior black belts, look at each other. And in a chorus, they say, there are 4 abanicos, which is a trick question because there's only 3 abanicos in our modern Arnis system. But There is one combination, so we counted it as 4. Corto, largo, harada, which is really a single stick redonda, and then double action abanico, which is a combination of it. But anyways, I digress. The camp, we knocked it out of the park. Next year, it's going to be the last weekend of April. I already have the information up on that. I'm working on whom our guests is going to be for next year's event. We always try to have someone from the outside, something outside the box, someone different to add a little spice to what we're doing. I have invited somebody, but I have to make that he is able to go. Because sometimes things don't work the way we want them to work. So that is going to be April 26th through 28th in West Seneca, Buffalo, New York. Hold on. Let me get rid of the branding here. The branding getting in the way. Okay. So last weekend of April. Of course, we have our instructor development camp, September 30th through October 1st. We have the Northern Ontario summer camp coming up. We've got the Delmarva camp coming up, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia camp coming up. Those two are the last 2 weekends of June. Okay, and we'll talk about that big announcement now. But I said, get back to it. The camp, the only downside with the camp, and this is something you should look into for yourselves if you're hosting events, we have a very expensive printer. Last year's camp, we have very expensive diplomas. And last year's camp, I probably spent 8 hours in the office during the camp doing diplomas, and I had actually started them before camp. We said this year that at the end of last year, I said, I'm never doing that again. We're going to do this stuff at least a week in advance. So a week in advance, or the week of the camp on the Monday, I start doing diplomas, and the whole thing breaks. So the printer is close to 20 years old. So I ordered a replacement printer. It shows up on the Friday, but camp was going. I didn't even attempt to do diplomas. I had black belts for everybody, which is a good thing. So you must be prepared. But when I get back from my trip, which is the next announcement, I'll start working on the diplomas and getting them out to all the students, all the people who passed the test. So what is going on? Well, today at 6:00, I'll be leaving Toronto. I'm in Buffalo, so I have to drive probably around 1:00 today. I'll be leaving Buffalo to go up to Toronto to fly down South America. I will be going with PG Craig Mason to Brazil. So I'm excited about this. This is the first time to Brazil. The thing I'm not excited about is the fact that I do not speak Portuguese. So that's going to be, and there's a couple things. Hola. That's about it. And then the rest is different than Spanish. So I'm looking forward to the trip because it's going to be fun. I still got a little packing I got to do, but go figure. I always do things last minute. It's just my shirts. I got everything set up, everything else. But I'm really excited going to Brazil. We're going to be teaching in Sao Paulo and the Rio de Janeiro. I'm actually seeing if I can find the flyer as we speak. There's. Here we go. So I got my COVID vaccine because my booster, because I wasn't sure. There we go. I wasn't sure what the restrictions were going to be. Some of the countries. One of the things in the Philippines was you have had to have a vaccine within the last 6 weeks of going to, in preparation going to the Philippines. So this is like my 4th or 5th shot, I think. So I got my form with me and everything. So, but Craig and I are going to be going to Sao Paulo and Rio. We're going this week. So I will be back stateside next week, Tuesday. Um, you know, but let me see here. Yeah. Yeah, we leave today. It's an overnight thing. And on the way back, I've got like a 7-hour layover in Miami. I mean, worst places. I'll be, I'll be back. I'll be back in the school on the 24th, the Wednesday, just in time for Memorial Day. Yay! And then Memorial Day weekend, I'm home, and then I shoot off to Walsburg, um, Canada, and I'm teaching up in Canada again. Go figure. But this is what's going on. I'm really excited. Like I said, for me, nice little personal thing. It'll be my 18th country that I've taught in. I'm hoping it's going to be 20 by the end of the year. I'm supposed to be going to Trinidad. We'll see if that actually happens. I'm going to the UK. And I'm not sure if we're just going to England or if we'll end up elsewhere. I got Austria coming up in July. I got a whole bunch of things going on, which is good because the organization is getting out there and helping promote the art. So that's it right now. I mean, there's a bunch of other things. What I really want to do is I want to give a quick review of the camp. I want to thank all the PGs for that. The teaching staff was PGs, put on gurus. Craig Mason, Chad Doolin, Ty Botting. I had PG Sam Wolf helping out there, with just helping out the students. Tuhan Brock was helping out the students. We had really good support. We had people from Florida, Alabama, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Delaware, multiple parts of Canada, Salem, Massachusetts, Connecticut. I mean, and of course, New York. So it had really good representation this year, especially seeing that last year was the 65th anniversary camp. I really didn't expect the numbers that I got this year because it's usually up and down, which what happens. We get it. So that is about it. I can keep rambling on. But like I said, I want to thank everyone that helped, Miss Janice for putting up with me and making things happen behind the scenes. And all the people who took up the challenge of becoming black belts. And these, like I said, we do not promote people. We produce people. That's the whole thing of the World Monarchs Alliance. Our mission statement is, excuse me, frog in the throat. Our mission statement is that we do not promote, we produce people. That's it. I'm not going to promote black belts or color belts if they can't do the job. Okay, I got a message here. Okay, so the instructors camp have a home game that weekend. So if you want a room, get it ASAP. That's a big one. I'm assuming that's Brock. Yeah, if you're going to come to the instructors camp, make sure you get a room now. Otherwise, you might be commuting farther than normal. Because what happens, the rooms will go up to $300 a night, which is crazy. Or the fact you just can't find a room. So there's 4 hotels. If you go to, let's see here. Let's see, I'm gonna go to our website real quick. Still just we're second place on the ratings. Camps at HQ. If you go to Camps at HQ, share the screen. Will you be quiet, Tier? He's such a drama doggy. Okay. So September 20th, October 1st, we do a classroom format and training at the same time. So we'll get up off our butts. We'll take notes and get going. That's a picture of me. That's supposed to be me right there. Obviously, there's a broken link there. Here are the hotels that we use. Country Inn and Suites, Hampton Inn, Staybridge Staybridge Suites. These are all within walking distance of each other. They're about 2 miles from the school. Best Western. Actually, I'm not sure if that's doable right now. There's another one right now. Days Inn is right by it, which I've been using. I'm going to put that up on the list as well. I got a decent room there. It's owned by Choice Hotels. That's about 4 miles away. So it's like a 10-minute drive. Not a big deal. So, all right. Well, listen. Knucklehead is being a knucklehead as usual. So, so that's about it. And I'm gonna get going, but I'll give everyone a holler when I get back from Rio de Janeiro. So, listen, everyone. As always, everybody, please stay safe and stay sane. This is Datu Tim. Looking forward to seeing you all soon in the future.
Sweet redemption, I would never let you down. Will it ever get done?